Yo! Dudes and dudettes, what's up, guys? So, just swinging out here this morning real quick. I think I already told you guys I scoped the cylinder that the rocker broke off of, didn't see anything. I am probably going to leak down that cylinder just to make sure the head gasket's intact. But I figured what I'm doing is I'm going through all the rockers now. Being these are pedestal mount, they're not really a common... I guess I shouldn't say they're not common, but typically pedestal mounts, that's how they come from the factory. There's aftermarket rockers that you can use, which is like what I'm using. But typically, like in a race setup, like you don't see them on a race motor. I've been running them for, this is the second motor they've been on now. Actually, technically third time that I've used pedestal mount rockers in this situation, and they've done me well. I've had tons of messages telling me that I need stud mounts, and that's what I should be doing, and I understand that's what I should be doing, but what I'm trying to tell you is this works, and it works fine. Okay, so that being said, I figured I'd show, for anybody that doesn't know, the pedestal mount like adjustment procedure, because you know, stud mounts, obviously you have your own adjustment procedure for zero lash and all that, and making valve adjustments. Pedestal mounts don't have all that amount of adjustment. It's really just setting the preload on the hydraulic lifter, and then you run with it. So they sell shims. I don't know if I have any shims in here. I don't. But what I could do is I could pull the rocker off. So I got this cylinder. It's on its cam's on its base circle. So what you'll do is, I'm trying to think of a way I could set the phone up so you guys can see. And I could really probably almost do it with one hand, but so cam's on its base circle, so both valves are closed. And so what I'll do is show you guys, and these aren't tight like at all. Like, and I go, of course I say I can't even loosen it. Okay. So I'm just going to take this one all the way off just so you guys can see said shims and have an understanding of what I'm talking about. And then you can also kind of understand what happened over there. So I did helicoil that one over there. Went well. There's a couple over here that are helicoiled. I can't remember which ones, because I've had this problem before, but it was during an install. When I was torquing them down, it pulled the threads out. So I've never had one pull the threads out while the engine was under load. So that's still something I'm trying to process and I don't fully understand. But I'm like to tell myself it's a freak thing, but the other part of me says there's a reason. So, okay, so 5/16 bolt. It then sits on top of this here pedestal here, okay? Set that over there. So there's the pedestal, and there's the shims. So Ford Racing sells different thickness shims. So like under this one, I only have one. Okay, like there's a couple around that got two different size shims on them, and all you're doing is you're just trying to get the proper preload on the lifter. That's it. It's stupid simple. It might be one with the... no, it's not. It's stupid simple. Again, I understand where a lot of the guys are coming from, telling me I need stud mounts and all this jazz. I get it. But for what I'm doing here and what this motor is, these are fine. I'm probably at the limits of them. I'm definitely probably pushing them further than most guys would. But I can assure you I'm not the only guy doing it. So I've also cracked these before too. Kind of a weird thing, but it has happened before. And Ford Racing does, at one time they did sell replacements. I think I had to get some just from a dude off of like Yellow Bullet or something. He had like a handful, so he emailed them to me. That was years ago. I still have a couple of replacements. So put that back on. Didn't find anything weird over there either, guys, on that side. I went through all those valves, loosened them up. rechecked them and everything was fine. Nothing out of the norm. Again, I'm going to leak down cylinder 1. I'm just curious if the head gasket's nipped or not or whatever. I don't know. Just trying to cover all my bases while I'm here. Okay, so 0 lash, pretty much just like you would on a stud mount. For the most part, anyways. Okay. Make sure that puppy's lined up. There's no guide plates on these either. Once they're in, they're in. Okay, 0 lash, so... Okay. So we're good there, 0 lash. So now, and this isn't me making this shit up, okay? This is directly out of Ford Racing's catalog. This is how they want you to set them up. And I don't have any of the exact numbers in my mind, but each shim is a different thickness, and you can stack them or whatever you need to do. If for some reason when you go to do this procedure and you don't need a shim, there's definitely something with your push rod length is clearly off. So just keep that in mind. And you can find the Ford Racing directions right online for pedestal mount rockers too. It's pretty easy to find. But so what I do, so once you get 0 lash, you then torque the bolt. And the way to tell that if you have the proper preload is it's not supposed to go a full turn before it reaches torque spec. Torque spec is 18 to 20 foot-pounds. You're not supposed to reach 1 full turn. So if you go over 1 full turn and you haven't reached your 18 to 20 foot-pounds, you got to add a shim. The goal is to be within half a turn. So what I do for ease is I take a paint marker and give her a little dash up there up top or wherever makes you happy. Okay, torque wrench is set for 20. Okay, now you see the line, and I'll even try to start the wrench up that way too. So we go, didn't reach it yet, see where we're at. We're right about a quarter in, okay? Where are we at? Almost half. Just over half now. See, we're right just over half. As long as it doesn't reach a full. Bam, we're there. So you can see we're not quite 3/4 turn, but just over half. So that one's good. So you could play with that too. I mean, if I wanted to tighten that up a little bit, I could add another shim under it or whatever. But that's fine. According to Ford Racing, that's fine. That's how they tell you how to adjust them. So that's what I'm doing, guys. I went over there, did all those. Everything's good. And really the reason I'm redoing these is to see if any threads pull out when I do the torque. To try to alleviate if they're going to pull out. That way it just happens now. You know what I mean? So I will leak down that cylinder, make sure we're good, redo these, get new intake gaskets, new valve cover gaskets, and slap this thing back together. And so far too, compression on all cylinders is good. Shows good compression on all of them for some reason. And I know it's hard, the engine's cold too. That's the other kind of weird thing, checking compression. But I'm just happy to see that everything's holding the way it should. But that back cylinder has more compression than the front three. Whatever, I don't know. So, but that's it, guys. That's where I'm at. Not really rushing to get this thing back together. Don't got much going on till I think end of June. PDRA was a thought for the bracket badge, but that sells out way fast, and I'm pretty sure it's already sold out. So I don't think I have a chance into that unless someone sells me their entry. But we'll see how that goes. As far as 42 though, I don't think it's still end of June or something like that is the next points race. So, but it'll be back together before then. We'll know. We'll know if we're in good shape or not, and we'll just roll the dice. Just like we have been the last 15, 20 years with this thing. So, as I've made posts too, I got to move on. This has been a kick-ass combo. It's been fun. It's been a blast. I know a lot of people have had fun watching me figure it out, learn it, and do the best I can with what I've got. That's kind of what I've based like all of my videos on and myself on. And Yeah Dude Racing as a whole, I guess. So it's been really fun. It still is fun. It's not over yet. It's not over to the fat ladies things, as they say. I mean, I'm gonna run this thing till the end. So, but I have been researching some builds. Big cubic inch Windsor is definitely something I would love to do, but financially, that's an expensive build. It's not cheap, and it shouldn't be cheap. I mean, they're kick-ass platforms, like just the parts and the proper parts to do what I want to do. To have a high 9, low 10 second, just all motor for bracket and index racing is more than I think I can spend right now in my life. So, other options I've been looking into is the Coyote platform. And when I first thought of this, I thought there's just no way. There's no way I could do that. It would cost buku bucks. It would be way more than a Windsor. And then, boy, am I surprised to find out that is the actual opposite. These guys are taking these sealed Coyotes, not really doing anything to them other than tunes and stuff, and they're kicking ass. So I mean, if you look Coyote stock NMRA, that's a perfect example. Obviously, them guys are stick shift, and that's a complete different thing than what I'm doing here, but it's doable. The Coyote platform is becoming more available in junkyards, which is huge, and I found out the ignition that I would need to run to put a carburetor in here. Sullivan makes an intake for it. It's actually way simpler than what I thought it would be. So that's something I'm leaning towards. It's just a great platform. Obviously, the transmission, I would still use my transmission, but I would have to put it in a different case to match the bell housing and all that to the back of the motor. But I would still run my transmission in it. I have to look like K-member and stuff. I don't know. That's stuff I got to research. In my mind, though, I'm thinking like motor plate the front of it. Cut the mounts off my existing K-member to make the room I need to make. That's in my head right now. I don't know if that works or not. I have no idea. That's just how my mind is working, how this would work out. So, but it might happen, guys. It's definitely, like I said, a lot more feasible than I ever anticipated, for sure. Definitely thought the Windsor was going to be the answer, and I was just going to have to freaking basically sell the house to make it happen. So, but the Coyote could happen. It's definitely something I'm looking into. So that's that. Other than that, if I find anything else, guys, I'll let you know. Once I get this thing fired back up too, I'll let you guys know. And if I find anything when I leak that cylinder down, you guys will be the first to know about it. So that's it, dudes. Happy Saturday. Have a good weekend. Rest of the weekend. And be safe out there. Later.